All right. Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code, the official Telerik podcast. I'm your host, Ed Charbeneau, and with me today is Layla Porter from LaylaCodesIt. How are you doing, Layla?
I'm really good, Ed. Thank you so much for inviting me on. It's a pleasure to be here with you all.
So, Layla is a developer advocate over at VMware, a Twitch streamer, an MVP, a GitHub star. I know I'm missing out on so many other accolades. Layla, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So the latest one you needed to add on there was the founder of Womenofnet, um, and which is very close to my heart. And yeah, I think that's it. I like C#. I haven't been doing much Twitch streaming though. Need to get back on that. I've fallen out of the habit, and it's a real stamina thing to keep streaming for and live coding for several hours at a time. And I just got lazy. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. So that's actually very topical because I need to kind of address this here. We haven't had an official quote podcast on Eat Sleep Code for a long time. Matter of fact, this is the first time I've heard that intro music in probably nearly 2 years. So we've had kind of a rocky road at like getting the podcast back on track. It got derailed originally due to some family things that we had going on, and then COVID came and like all travel stopped, and I didn't get to conferences to like meet with people and talk to wonderful folks and say, hey, I've got this show, we should do an interview sometime. So it just kind of got put on the back burner for a while, and John Bristow and I have been keeping it alive by doing news shows every week on
Yeah.
Twitch. They don't translate well to a podcast, so I haven't really aired those on the podcast feed. So you are our first guest in like 2 years, Layla.
I feel so honored. I'm just popping out chat in case I need to chat to somebody.
Yes,
Like
and this is a new
on the
feature that
channel.
we have on the podcast. So, for those of you listening and not watching, we are on Twitch doing this live, so we can actually take questions and answers, which is something that's brand new. So at least we're coming back with something new to add.
Yes. So I'm watching in case I, can jump in there and answer something on chat. Um, but yeah, well, that's cool that I'm helping you restart the podcast, and yeah. So
You know how it is to kind of get off track on these live shows and things, though. It's quite involved. Like I know you have a pretty big production that you do for your show. You have some amazing like 3-dimensional stages that you have on your Twitch stream and all kinds of
yes,
stuff. And of course, you
they.
need content for all those shows too.
This is it. It's content is a really hard slog. It's not something that just happens. It's something that really has to be worked at. And I think the constant grind gets to a lot of people, and you hear about it. It's prolific with YouTube content creators about having burnout because the algorithm never stops and it doesn't let you stop. Twitch is just as harsh, which is why I never worry about numbers on Twitch, because as soon as you stop for more than a week, everything's gone. And it is just tough to keep it going, and just to set up those virtual studios. It takes a good 30 extra minutes rather than just going, hey, I'm going to go live. And with the virtual studios, I have to make sure that the cameras are all lined up, that all the systems on my machine are running effectively, that I've amped up all the fans to protect my machine. And yeah, it's not straightforward, and it is quite a big commitment to keep going and doing it.
And I think we might have missed a little bit here, like of maybe why you're live streaming. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, Layla.
Oh, okay. So what do I do? I do a very varied amount of work, to be honest. As a developer advocate at VMware Tanzu, I dedicate my time to .NET community and writing actual .NET stuff. People always ask me, but VMware does VMs. Well, Tanzu, which is a subdivision of VMware, is more about developer and infrastructure and like a cloud platform, really. And it's predominantly Kubernetes type stuff. We have a lot of products built around deploying at scale. So I've been really looking into, since I joined nearly a year ago. Can you believe that? I joined the end of June last year. I've been trying to focus more on the enterprise side of .NET development. So I've been doing a lot of upskilling and learning, trying to write content, speaking at virtual conferences, and I've shared my virtual learning on Twitch. So I use that as my kind of the monkey on my shoulder. Is that the right term? I could be totally misusing that. To say, Layla, you must code. You must sit there and do your learning. So I turn that camera on and I sit down and I code with a live audience to make sure that I do it and I don't rage quit, which is quite common.
I think I've done that quite a few times myself. I think I originally rage quit Visual Studio the first time I opened it. It's so intimidating. I also rage quit my Photoshop the first time I opened it because it's too intimidating. But I always came back. I think that's the important part, is you got to come back.
Yes.
I may or may not have uninstalled some of these things at one point, just out of frustration, and come back as well.
I usually just end up swearing at my computer, so I try not to swear on stream. They occasionally slip out, and then I just sometimes I just need to walk away. Now I've learned that I don't rage quit what I'm doing. I just switch stuff. Yes, Thindle, I see. I rage quit 3D Studio Max and opened it again. I rage quit it again and gave up on 3D modeling.
So yeah, a little comment from chat there that hits close to home. I did that as well. First time I looked at 3D Studio Max, I bailed on it.
I've not used that. I didn't use Blender, and oh my goodness, it's all like I have lists of shortcut commands because everything is reliant on your memory of shortcut commands. I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to do this. And modeling is quite tedious. I followed a tutorial on how to model a human, and I gave up halfway around the head.
That is one of probably the hardest things, I think, to 3D model is a human being. I kind of have this belief that if you're doing any kind of art or design, when you're doing that kind of work, doing anything that's IRL, like representation of real life, is much harder. Just because everybody has a context of what that thing is. If you go abstract, then it's hard for somebody to judge whether it's good or bad because it's something they've never ever seen before. So if you're doing like a little spaceship or something that's from your own universe you planned, that's one thing. If you try a human, they're like, yeah, I've seen one of those before. That's not it.
That is so not right. I always get this. I know the anatomy of horses and how they move really well. And when I'm playing video games and they have a horse that the character rides, I'm looking at this thing and like, did you not even look at a horse? Did you just think about, oh, I saw a pony at the beach when I was 5 and this is what it looked like and this is how it moved? I get very mad at the way horses are modeled and programmed to move. It's a pet peeve,
It's like someone hacking software in a movie.
Yes.
It's like, that's not how any of this works.
It's not. And it's also readable, like hacking mainframe right now. No, that's not what happens. I'm sure it's a lot of tedious, like, oh, I'm going to try that. Tap.
So I'll try to keep this topical because we're veering off topic, but it's a good topic. You have a partner that does some of this type of work and builds some of the sets, the 3D modeled sets for your
I
Twitch stream.
do. Jim, known to quite a few people on Twitch as Silicon Orchid, he used to be a web developer, and he's who I learnt web development from. And he got fed up with the constant grind and the crud, and he switched to Unity development. And he does that full time now. And he's sort of waving goodbye to web development, which is annoying because I want to discuss something about web development or some new thing in .NET, and I'm like, Jim, can you help? And he's like, no, I don't know any of that anymore. And it's really frustrating. But I've started to learn a little bit of Unity as well so that I can help him. I had some time off in March, and the whole 2 weeks I sort of worked on that area, and that's where I tried Blender and doing some 3D modeling. But I much prefer doing the Unity side of things and actually doing the game development. So he built the virtual studios that I have in Twitch completely in Unity and using the Twitch lib, which is a wrapper for the Twitch API, to make it completely interactive with chat and things like that. So it's very cool, and they were sort of his precursor to learning how to do games. He and I actually worked on a Windows Phone game back in, I think, 2012, perhaps it was, back when it was Windows Phone 7. I get so long ago now, I don't know when Windows Phone 7 was a thing. It could have been 2011. And that actually got featured on the Windows Phone store right there with Angry Birds and Fruit Ninja, if that is kind of like a dating it. So we've got pictures of it featured on the feature page with pipes swept away right there with Angry Birds. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty awesome. I remember the Windows Phone days. I still wish that was a device that I could go back and buy again. Like, no,
Yeah.
maybe it's a .NET developer thing because it's a Windows Phone. I don't know, but it seemed like the UI was ahead of its time.
It was. I quite liked the tiles and those things. I had a Windows Phone back in 2007. I imported an HTC from Hong Kong via eBay, and it came with Windows on it, and I had a little stylus. It was the slowest thing ever, but that was well before the tiles and Metro or whatever it was. So I quite liked that, and then it was just a nice streamlined user interface, and I think they were the first OLED phones as well. Jim had a Nokia, and it was an OLED, and I just remember looking at it going, oh wow, those blacks are pretty awesome. But yeah, what about this new folding Surface phone thing? What about that?
I don't know. I'm very skeptical of any phone now that Microsoft puts out because of the early demise of the Windows Phone. So I'm skeptical of most of their hardware, even though I own 2 Surfaces. A lot of that has to do with what will IT approve more than it does what is your personal preference. So
True.
I'm pretty happy though with the Surface Studio laptop. That's been a nice device. I was skeptical because my Surface Book 2 kind of went berserk after one of the updates they did to the firmware. So I was always kind of hesitant to get another Surface device, but it was like that or a Lenovo something or other cheap, you could see the pixels if you look hard enough type of device. And
Oh.
yeah, I'm not in the market for one of those. I'd really actually like a nice device when I'm presenting, to an audience that doesn't look cheap and is going to run
Yeah.
all my Android VMs and things that I might have running in the background and not be sluggish. So.
You need a little bit of oomph to it. I have the very first Surface, not the NT or whatever it was, the one that was only apps. I had the one that ran full Windows. It must be Windows XP, I'm thinking. I have it in the drawer beside me, and it's quite the brick. And it had the detachable keyboard and the stylus on it, and it was quite thick, like a very thick iPad. So I still got that, and it still runs, and it's a nice device. But I didn't go with any of the Surfaces after that.
So it appears that both of us are into old hardware. Other than that, I know you've been working on a new project called Womenofnet.
I have, yes.
Why don't we talk a little bit about that?
Of course. So I sat on the board of the .NET Foundation from 2020 to 2021. When they rebooted the board of directors, so I was on that first new board. And I joined because I hope to make a difference with women in the community, because .NET is I think an aging community, and B, a male-dominated community. And I don't mean that in a detrimental way at all. It's just how it is.
It's a fair assessment, right?
Yeah. So I was hoping that I could be able to make more of an impact. And it was too confined for me to do the things that I wanted to do. So I left. Oh my goodness, we have a raid. So I decided to drop out of the foundation when my term was up. And then I decided to create the Women of .NET initiative. And from that, I started to grow it. It started off because I wanted to make a profile page, like a listing of all the women who are speakers. And this is anyone that identifies as a woman, not multiple women in one body. I'm sure that's okay too. So anyone who identifies as a woman, we welcome and wanted to celebrate and make it a place where meetups and conference organizers could go and see what the women in the community are offering to speak about. So I made the profiles there, and I have a fair few women on there now. I work with your teammate Alyssa on my leadership committee, and we have several women from Microsoft on the .NET team that actually are on Jeff Fritz's team, as well as some other women around the world from the community. And we're just trying to grow it and trying to get more women involved. I think it's just an awareness game at the moment, but we're very ally friendly. And I think it's really important to stress that. I'm adverse to groups that are only women, and that may sound weird when I talk about a Women of .NET initiative, but I mean where they don't want the involvement of our allies. And I'm adverse to that kind of situation. I don't think we can isolate communities from other communities or make subsets within the communities that are isolated. I think we all need to work together and have a focus, and that's what I hope from the Women of .NET. There's a focus on the women in the community, because the survey results from the .NET Foundation survey of 2020 was, I think, around 2% of the community who responded to the survey identified as a woman, and that was just too low. So I just want to make it a place where, well, you've got daughters, Ed. If your daughters looked at a list of speakers or community members and it was peppered with the odd woman, she may feel that that's not the place for her. But if she sees a site where there's lots of women from all backgrounds, they all look different, they all have distinct personalities, maybe she could see a place for her in that community. And that's why want it, so that we can nurture the upcoming generations and say, yeah, there is a place for you. You do fit, because everybody's welcome. You don't have to be look a certain way or be a certain way. You can be you and still be welcome. So that's really what I wanted from it.
Yeah, I really like the sentiment of your initiative there to allow people that are, like you said, allies to come in and help help promote, help, maybe speak at an event or coach or mentor, those type of things. I think a lot of groups try to do this type of thing without the ally part, like you said, and they end up becoming the very thing that they're trying to, you know, uh, rally against. And
Yes.
I think that's it's a tough, you know, tough nut to crack, but I think you're headed in the right direction. You have the right mindset.
Yeah, we're not going to get everything right, and I think it's important to realize that when you're trying to build a new part of a community, you can't please everyone all of the time, and there are going to be mistakes made. But I think it's just understanding that happens, learning from it, not beating anyone up for it, and just moving on and trying to not make those mistakes again, and do things differently, and progress and grow. I think that's all we can do. So that's what I'm trying to do, and move forward. And I have a great team of women and allies, all wanting to work towards the same goal of increasing the number of women in the community and making sure that it's a welcoming event. One of the things we've got coming up is a workshop in a box. So if anyone wants to run a Women of .NET day in their meetup, we're hoping that you can just come to the site. We'll give you all the tips for how to plan it. We'll give you the workshops to run, and you could just run a day. So those are the types of things that we want to do to help people help their own small communities, their local communities, and grow those by putting on fun events that encourage girls and women who haven't thought about doing .NET. Maybe they've been in another tech stack, maybe they've never coded before, but we want them to be encouraged to come and try .NET, so we can make sure that we've got new generations and fresh blood coming into the community.
Yeah, that's a great outlook on trying to keep the community fresh. I have a good friend of mine who has done something similar in the front end web development space. Jen Looper, she helps run and founded Front End Foxes, and she's had some great success there. So it sounds like you're two very like-minded individuals. So I wish you as much success as she has had.
I should maybe have a chat with her then.
Yeah, I could help you set that. I could help set that up.
That would be
fantastic. Spoken to Jen before, I could connect you to. She's absolutely fantastic. She's working over at Microsoft now.
Yes,
Put you in touch.
I think like on the Windows platform, was it? I thought I do follow her on Twitter. I can't remember. But
last time I spoke with her, she was working in with the Cloud Developer Advocate Group. Not sure exactly what her role is these days. Quite a few folks I know over there, they change things up quite a bit. So
yes, I think it's quite they mix it up a lot quite often. So
speaking of friends I have at Microsoft, I just want to thank Jeff Fritz for the raid. If you're listening to the podcast, we're on Twitch, and a raid is when you kind of forward all your users from your channel to another. So thanks for that. Appreciate that. We were just getting caught up on Layla's project, Womenofnet. So how can folks get involved with Womenofnet, find out more about it, that sort of thing?
So you can check out the website, which is womenofnet, and you can come and see, there's all the profiles there. So if you are looking for a speaker for your meetup, maybe you can go and have a look at the speaker profiles and say, oh, here's someone speaking about Maui. We would love a talk on Maui. And they may also be in your area. We're trying to implement a region filter. We just need to update the profiles with regions. We've got the filter there, but no one's got the regions on their profiles. But I'm sure everyone would be happy to do virtual, at least if the time zones all work out. So you can check out Womenofnet. If you want to be more involved, we have a Discord server as well. We are slow building a new community, so don't expect to come into the Discord server and find it a bubbling hive of activity just yet. These things take time, but the more people that come in and start to build it, the more activity and sense of community we'll have. I'd also like to do some tech talks on the Discord server, so sort of closed in there where people can talk about things. We've had requests to speak about difficult matters as well in an open manner. So, how to cope with things in the workplace and stuff like that. So different tech related, or so I guess the social side of being a developer and working in developer jobs. So all sorts of things. So come and hang out in the Discord server and help us build the community from there. And tell people. That's a big thing. Tell people.
I will definitely share those links in chat here at the end of the show, and anything else that happens to come up. And you talked about this helping, conferences find speakers and things like that. I know you're working on organizing some conferences. Helped speak at one of those earlier this year. Do you have anything coming up that we can chat about?
So you're speaking about .NET Beyond, where you were a host, which was great. That was VMware's very first .NET focused event, which was fantastic. It was 2 days and virtual. I love organizing events. I'm a bit of a planner and a plotter. I'm working again with your teammate, Alyssa, for some Women of .NET related workshops at DevReach, actually. So I will be there, Ed. And hopefully that. And then various conferences around Europe and the Americas. It's still quite weird to be going out in person, I have to admit. So I've done one conference in person, which was last week, and an internal workshop, well, a VMware workshop-y thing was a couple of weeks ago in Chicago. So that was my first international travel for more than 2 years. Yeah, so it's weird. I'm trying to go easy on it because it's strange to be out in the big wide world again.
Yeah, I've done a couple in-person conferences this year, and it's getting there, but it's not the same. I can't wait till things feel normal again, but it's at least a step in the right direction. So the first one I did in person was in Atlanta way early, or let's see, it was late last year, I believe. But it was during that lull in the COVID wave, where we thought we were over this thing, and then this was pre-Delta, I guess, in between that period, and it was okay, we're back to normal, and everybody is still wearing masks at the conference, and it was not a whole lot of dinners and things going on. And then we got hit by the next wave, and it's oh, okay, so all this is just not going to happen. And then many months later, I went to another in-person event, and it was much more normal. Things, we weren't really wearing masks and things like that, but still, around 8 o'clock, it was tumbleweeds. Nobody was around. It's so weird. It's usually at a conference after the show's over, everybody meets up, we have dinner, we chat, you have the hallway conversations, and it was like empty hotel. Like
Wow.
nobody's anywhere. It's like nobody's going to dinner. We held like a little bit of a bowling party, and everybody bailed out like extremely early. I was like, what is going on? And it's like everybody's still skittish. They don't want to, have that many people around, I guess, at once. So it's going to take some
Yeah.
getting used to.
NDC London last week, that was 3 conference days and then 2 workshop days. And I decided just to go down for the one day that I was speaking. I didn't feel comfortable to go for all of the days, but from the photos I saw, it was looking pretty normal. Which by normal, I mean during the keynote with Richard Campbell, I didn't see any masks in the audience. I saw photos from the exhibition hall and no masks. When I went, I was wearing a mask and I was very much in the minority there. And they had parties and dinners and pub crawls and all sorts of things. And I personally wasn't comfortable with that, which is why I just went for the one day. But it did feel like it was what COVID. So that was interesting and hard to get my head around. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it'll take a while for everybody to find their own pace of what they feel is acceptable and normal again. It's kind of weird. Like we've got I work from home, so I don't go out very often. And
Like
I
me.
had I've had somebody here doing work on the house outside, mind you, and somehow through just having someone outside and us interacting outdoors, many feet apart, we managed to get some kind of head cold, flu, COVID, whatever it is,
Oh
and
my goodness.
me, the guy, and his coworker are all sick. It's like, yeah, it's this isn't like we're in a crowded space. We're following, the outdoor rules, and still we end up with some kind of crud. So
Ew.
I don't know if we can
You're
ever
just
feel safe
journey.
again. It's just like people are, if there's people, there will be these things. I don't know.
This is it. You forget what it was like pre-COVID, that you went out and you got a sniffle, or you'd be on a plane. You could not travel on a plane without some kind of ailment afflicting you when you got off it, whether it
Good
was
old
a
plane crud.
scratchy throat. Yeah, this is it. Or like a sniffle. Going into the office, if someone comes in and has a coughing fit, then 2 days later 5 more people have it. And I think we've just had this fear of illness drummed into us for the past few years. That was like, oh my God, I've got a sniffle. I've caught something. Someone transmitted a disease to me. And really, that's what we've had all our lives. It's just that this one happened to be more deadly and much scarier. But yeah, none of those other things have gone away. Those sniffles and sore throats.
So, well, we'll get back. We'll get back eventually. So you're coming to Boston for DevReach.
I am. I'm so excited. I've never been to Boston, and I've already been promised a tour by a friend who lives in Boston. I get to hang out with you. I get to meet Alyssa in person, because I've met you in person. I nagged you for a t-shirt many years ago at NDC London. I was like, give me a t-shirt. I like this cool t-shirt with ninjas on it. And you're like, okay, go away.
Go back to your booth.
Yes,
take your shirt
go
with
back
you.
to that booth. We were booth neighbors, weren't we? And but I've not met Alyssa, and that would be cool to be there. And it sounds like you've got such an amazing lineup coming together as well, from the little tidbits I've heard. So I'm excited about that. I'm hoping to get into NDC Oslo. I hope so, because we've got a Womenofnet lounge at NDC Oslo. So I should be going. And then I've got various other speaking engagements over the year. It was really hard because you have to submit several months in advance, and knowing if you're going to get accepted, or well, if you get accepted, are you going to be able to travel? So that's quite scary. Not scary, just up in the air, I guess.
Yeah, when I did Star Trek, they asked for videos because they did do hybrid for one, but then the other part of having a video of your talk was if for some reason you can't come, they've got a backup plan.
That's a great idea.
It was a great idea. I think they said they had about 80% participation in that, so they pretty much told you it was required, but still some people didn't make the videos.
Yeah.
Some speakers can be divas. I'm not going to name names.
We don't know any speaker divas, do we, Ed?
No.
No.
I did submit a
They're
video, so it wasn't me.
mythical.
I will say that. But I actually got a lot out of making the video. So and of course this is a little more routine for me than most people probably too. So you got to think about that as well. I'm a little bit familiar with the tools and all of that. It's not outside of my normal daily activities. So I was happy to make it, and it actually came in really handy because I don't normally practice my talks. People find that weird, but I don't. And I actually got to practice the talk, and one of the weird things, I felt like it came out better the first time, so I kept trying to live up to the video, and that was hard. But it gave me a good reference, so I liked that part of it. So.
I practice a lot. I practice sections. I will be walking the dog, and I will be doing my intro. I'll be eating a sandwich, going over my demo and live coding in my brain, as I do practice a lot, which means that when I do it, it'll average out to be okay. That's my go.
You're talking about like mental practice though, like you're, mulling over things in your head. Like
Yeah.
talking about like physical practice
I
though.
do
I don't like
well.
Okay, I don't get in front of a camera or mirror or
I don't do that. No,
or even just like, speak out loud anything.
Oh, I speak out loud to my computer. I set a timer on my phone, so I get the timer going, and I do the whole thing. I introduce myself. I do all my clickery things. I practice how I transition from slides to code. I practice the live code. I tweak the order of things then by speaking out loud. I'm like, okay, that needs to come before then. And I refine it over a few different rehearsals. I used to have to rehearse the morning of when I first started speaking, just so everything was crisp in my head. But I don't have that anxiety to have to rehearse just the morning of now that I've been doing public speaking for so long. But yeah, I quite like a rehearsal. It lets me know roughly the timings as well. And so I like to pride myself on coming in right on time. Mm-hmm. And so by multiple practices, I know where I speed up and can slow down to fit the timings. So I do like to do an actual physical speak out loud rehearsal, as well as the speaking to myself whilst I walk the dog.
Yeah, I love to hear other people's routines on getting ready for the stuff, because I, and you probably feel this way too. There's not like formal training on like you're gonna go. You can actually get training on speaking in public, but as a developer advocate, like live coding and talking about code, there's no like class for that. Maybe that's something I need to try. Like instruct people on how to do. I don't know if I even could. I wouldn't know where to begin, but it's like, I'd love to hear other people's take on like how they get set up and stuff for this. It's really a kind of a unique thing that we do. Presenting live code and stuff.
It was really interesting to learn how different people approach content, talk creation as well. So I worked with Alyssa on a keynote that we gave a few months ago. And so we had our planning meetings, and Alyssa rocks up with a document and she's writing out paragraphs and bullet points. And I'm like, what is this, Alyssa? Don't you know? I start my talks with a slide deck, and I put an idea on a slide and then add a new slide, and I might get a cool slide deck which inspires me to the shape of my talk. And we were like, oh. And so it's very interesting to co-present with someone, to pick up some tips from them and share those ideas. And it was like, wow, you can do it this way. You can write a document. So yeah, it's very
I'm laughing. I'm trying not to laugh into the microphone, but I am laughing pretty hard here.
Go for it.
Because this is my coworker that I work very closely with that you keep mentioning. Alyssa Nykel, you want to talk about things that are infectious. This is like an infectious personality to be around. She will spread joy and just I don't know, energy into whatever you're doing, and it's absolutely fantastic. But as soon as you start talking like any kind of collaboration, out pops a Dropbox document.
Oh my goodness, out of nowhere. Paper. That's it.
Dropbox paper, is that what it's called? Or
yes,
paper. Yeah, it
and
comes
I never
out
know how to get to them.
It's like, boom, here's the link, and everything is going to be on this document. And it's funny because neither one of us, like you and I, Layla, did not talk about this going into the conversation. Like, you just started saying like, and there was a document, and I'm just like, yes, there was.
Of course there was a document.
Yeah, I'll have to get Alyssa on here and do an interview with her, because she's absolutely fantastic. So much fun. And we could talk about maybe I should do it live at DevReach. That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Like .NET Rocks does it live. You can do this live. Yes.
Just talking to Alyssa. That would be a fantastic show.
Yes. The energy. We just have to keep her in her chair, though. That's the thing. And focused. And at a live event, that will be entertaining enough for me. Can we all come and watch?
Yeah, I think that I need to figure that one out. I need to set that up somehow.
Yeah,
I've done this at live shows before. That's why I said the show's been on hiatus for too long with all this stuff going on. I used to carry a Blue Yeti microphone in my bag and just set it up at conferences and say, "Come talk to me." And ahead of time, I'd or at the show, I'd find people. One of my friends that I talk to quite frequently, Guy Royce, just fantastic community guy. Literally, his name is Guy. I met him at a conference, and I was asking attendees, like, what was your favorite session of the day, and everybody kept saying Guy's session, and I hunted him down. I was like, people loved your talk. We got to do a podcast. And I think we sat down for like 2 hours and talked to each other. And then we were like, we should probably record something. So I think we talked for 3 hours that day. And we've chatted each other up ever since. So I really have fun doing these things.
And your other colleague, Sam, I first met him at Svetag, and I did a live broadcast with him type of thing for the Code It Live channel. That was my first introduction to Code It Live, I think. So that was kind of like a 20-minute chit chat type thing. So yeah, you're all carrying around your Yetis.
Yeah, but we're a chatty bunch. No, we're a very, very friendly team.
You're an awesome
got a great
bunch.
team. I think a lot of that has to do with company culture. It was there before I joined. So Todd Anglin started the team, it feels like 20 years ago. And it's kind of evolved over the years, and we've had ups and downs. And then Sarah Fatz, she's our team lead now, and she is absolutely fantastic and has put together an amazing team of people. And we all get along and enjoy what we're doing, and have a lot of fun doing it. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you at DevReach, and we'll have the whole team together to do stuff. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I love doing stuff with your team and hanging out and all the fun things you do. And it always puts a smile on my face when I get that, hey, Layla, are you game to do this really random thing on Twitch? Yes, of course, because I get to do it with all of you. So I think you're very fortunate to have such an awesome bunch of people in your team, and it shows. So that's pretty cool.
So what are some of the insane things we've had you do?
You had me come on with a voice mod and wind you all up to try and persuade you to pick me for your team. That's one thing that I remember doing.
And did we pick you?
Yes, you did. I was your second choice, though, Ed. I'm never going to let you forget that.
That's why I asked. I knew it was coming.
Yes,
knew it was
eventually.
coming again.
So that was good fun. That was for Valentine's Day, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we had to come up with some anti-Valentine's Day things, I think. That was it.
We made
that
some
was great.
apps and stuff.
Yeah. It was just chaos. And there's been a whole load of
chat says Layla is at silver medal, and nothing could be more true. Layla, you always have a place in my heart. Second place.
Thanks. Second place. Yeah, I know that. That's fine.
But look who I had picked to come on the show, the first podcast in 2 years.
Yeah, but who turned you down?
4 people, but that's okay. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh dear, 4 people. Yeah. And I believe it. Okay. So I can't. What else have we done? We've made some weird gingerbread house.
Yeah,
which was chaos. I had no idea where I had to try and figure out grid, and I was just like, I don't know grid. No idea. That was some chaotic fun. And there's been a whole load of other stuff where I've hopped on and I've done streams. I hopped on from a cabin in the middle of nowhere in Wales to chat to Alyssa about something she was stuck on with .NET and JS Girl in a .NET world. I've hopped on other streams to talk about fantasy novels with you all.
I think it's safe to say like crazy attracts crazy, and
yeah,
we saw your stream and some of the things that you're doing, and like I mean, what are some of the quote normal things that are happening on your stream? Like there's a graveyard, there's like Gordon Freeman popping out of the bushes in the back.
Salad fingers.
It rains dogs.
It rains severed dog heads, not just dogs, severed dog heads. We have chat falling from the sky. So chat visitors falling from the sky. Salad fingers is one of my all-time favorites. If you don't know who Salad Fingers is, go and Google and prepare to be disturbed. Yes, we have lots of different visitors. They're called visitors. So we have like Ripley, Freeman. We have Ghostbusters. We have the Terminator. All sorts. So yes, we do have those. And you can control the lights as well by hex codes. We have other weird stuff. Yes, there's types of rain or snow, or as we said, severed dog heads. Yes. So there's lots of crazy stuff going on in there, which makes my machine work really hard. That was quite funny. I have an absolutely, I'm trying to think of this a polite way to say this, phenomenal PC. I was trying to think. Everything I was saying was like, can I say that live? Can I say that? No, Layla, just air on. I have a very powerful PC,
A
which I
BMAF PC, right?
yes,
We'll
and
abbreviate.
it's overkill, but it works really hard when I'm streaming.
I
So
have a nice machine and I'm jealous. Let's just say that.
and it sits there. It's in a new box now, so I can actually look at the insides of it from where I'm sat. I'm looking at it now, and it's all lit up and pulsing at me. So yeah, it's pretty awesome machine. But my room kicks it. It really struggles, as does Zoom. Everything else. I had 4 instances of Visual Studio open yesterday, and it was only the 5th one that caused the machine to crash. So I think that's pretty good.
How many degrees Celsius does your room go up when your machine turns on?
I know. So it's 26 Celsius at the moment. So I think I worked that out to be about 79 Fs Fahrenheits. Weird non-linear weirdness that you have. And it will go up a good 2 degrees Celsius, sometimes 3, when the machine is really kicking it out.
Yeah, I'm in a basement, so technically I'm in a basement. So I don't have these heating cooling issues unless it's winter. It's just frigid all the time. So I welcome the extra heat. In summer it doesn't get too bad in here, so it's
so that curtain there is tucked up into the window ledge because the blinds are down and the curtains are pulled over to try and block the heat, because that's south facing. Because the pollen is really high at the moment here. Like everything is coated in pollen.
Yeah.
So I haven't got the windows open, and instead I have this very sophisticated box with a Vax filter covered in cling film, duct tape, big ducts going into it, and all sorts of filters in my loft, aka an attic, with ducting coming from the roof through like the house vents, and then in the loft hatch I have a hole cut so it blows filtered air, but the loft is hot, and so the air gets hot and it blows hot air in. So I've got a fan blowing cool air on me, trying to block out heat, but we have lovely filtered air in the whole entire house. So I think a little bit of warmth is good.
Yeah.
But I'm jealous of your basement.
Yeah, it's nice. I enjoy the cool temperatures year round. I do get light too, so it's a walkout. So it's not completely underground. It's like 50% underground. So
you've got the cool wall with no lights, and I assume like earth behind it, and then you've got the daylight. So you've got the best of both worlds, you lucky devil.
I did get very lucky. So your super powered PC, does it get any gaming attention these days?
So I hate to say that we've got 2 of these PCs.
2 of them. All right, now you're just bragging. Okay, I tried not to brag about my basement office. The 2 PC thing.
Jim has more or less the same PC, and he needs it for Unity development, for builds. So that was the reasoning there. And so he has that, and we have this. I'm in a 3-story townhouse, and we have an intricate system of cables that snake up through the stairs and are pegged to like the banisters and things like that, so we don't trip and break our necks. So in the evening when we want to play games, we no longer use our old gaming machine, which had a 1080 Ti in it, so it was pretty good for its day. But
that's what I have, by the way. Oh no,
yeah,
I have a 1080.
This is a 1080 Ti. It's a really old card, but it's such a good card. It's still so performant and comparable today. So I don't know what we're going to do with that machine. So that is off to one side at the moment. And now we run this, I think it's like a 15-meter HDMI cable and USB from the TV in the living room through the stairs up, and it can't reach mine, so it reaches Jim's PC, and he's across the hall. And then we game off that. So mine doesn't really get that much gaming unless he's gaming with his friends online, and then I might come and do some games in here. Usually Prey Moon Crash, where you need to, your ears might bleed with the amount of swearing that comes out of my mouth. I get very, very aggressive when I'm beating aliens. But I love it.
I need to see what is the game about besides beating aliens. Is this first-person shooter type thing, or
it is? Prey is an awesome game. Do you know the game studio Arcane? And they did Dishonored and Dishonored 2. So they did Prey. And Prey is set on a space station, and you wake up, and I won't spoil it, there's some things going on, and there are some people running around this PlayStation, and then there are these things. And you don't know where the aliens are. And it sends you into this neurotic wreck. It's very emergent. The whole thing is very emergent. There's so many different ways that you can solve things and get through to different places. And it's just phenomenal. And you get to go outside the PlayStation and do space walks. Say again?
I said it looks gorgeous. Like the graphics look amazing.
It is. We've played it 3 times. And I love it. I could go and play it now. It's just so phenomenal. It's got great story, great gameplay. And there's just these moments of peace and quiet where you can just wander around and look at stuff. But it does make you a little bit neurotic about mugs and chairs and waste paper baskets.
So is this maybe on a parallel with something like BioShock?
I think it's better than BioShock, because BioShock, I love BioShock underneath, but it was relentless. If you think back to BioShock, those crazy people coming out, like screaming at you, you dispatch all of them, and then there'd be another wave, and there'd be another wave, and you couldn't clear an area. And that was my thing with BioShock. But that sort of sense of awe of wandering around and looking and exploring. I loved BioShock, but I love Prey more. And then it has
I will have to get this.
I will recommend it. There's some DLCs. One of them I haven't played. It's Typhon Hunter. So the aliens are called Typhons. And that's an online one. And I've only played that briefly. But my favorite DLC is called Moon Crash. So if you play it, you need to make sure that you get it with Moon Crash. And Moon Crash is a time loop, and that's what I play online. And you keep going, and what you do, you've got 5 characters, and what you do with the first one, you choose which one you want to go with, and they each have very set skills. So one might be an engineer, and you can go and fix something and open a door or turn something on. And then when that engineer, you eventually die, you get the next character, and that character can do something because of something the previous character did. There's this persistence, and it's just amazing. So hard, so very hard, but so addictive.
So apparently Thindle in chat says this is on Game Pass, which I have. Game Pass. Probably not. Probably the main game without the DLCs. So I believe you can still buy a DLC for a Game Pass game.
Wow.
It looks like I may be in luck. This would have been like a $40-$50 purchase, but I think I have Game Pass already, so I'll go check that out. Both are free, Napalm says.
On Epic Games until the end
on Epic. I don't have Epic Game Pass. I have Xbox Game Pass. So I'll have to
So,
see.
so it's really, really good. So you're feeling a little bit like too sniffly for this afternoon to work, I hear. Is that right,
Oh
Ed?
yeah, the sniffles are coming back really hard.
Yeah. Oh
I think I'm
dear.
gonna
Whoopsies.
have some downtime.
Yeah, yeah. Oh dear, what a pity. I
Yeah,
can't think what you could do whilst you're getting the tissues out for your little sniffle.
I'll tell my
So
wife it's contagious, so I'll have to stay
yeah,
away from her.
yeah. I
She's
just have to stay in the
you know,
basement.
limits.
Just deliver food and water for the next
Quarantine.
36
Basement.
hours. Yes. Yeah. It sounds like a great plan. Um it is oh, so on Epic there's no Game Pass. You just log in and get it for free.
What? All right. I know they've done that before. I'm trying to remember what I got from them free last time.
I've had something free from them. I can't
Yeah,
think what it was.
and I think I just got it for free for the sake of getting it for free because now I can't remember what it was.
Well,
I definitely have to check this out though. It sounds like an amazing game. If it's better
it is.
than, and I'm always open for something being better than BioShock. I find it
It
very hard to believe.
has that the decor of the space station is very reminiscent of Bioshock. It's got that sort of Art Deco feel, and it's an alternative history as well. Um, so Kennedy wasn't assassinated, so there's some references to that. It's absolutely stunning and so intricate, and it just keeps blowing your mind. You keep coming through and discovering yet another thing that you didn't think they could possibly have thought to put in a game, and you're like, oh my goodness, they did that. So that would
Only it was VR.
yeah.
I will still enjoy playing it, but VR has me hooked. Even though I
Yeah,
haven't had time or felt well enough to put that dang thing on, I do love my headset, which I looked at, and you guys cannot see or realize it's right behind me.
I have a feeling that there was something for Prey with VR. There was something. Oh
There is.
no, it was Alien Isolation, I think.
That game was. I bought that and played through about halfway, I think, and just got bored.
I loved it. But then I'm a huge Alien fan.
I'm a fan of Alien. That's why I bought it, and it wasn't fast paced enough for me. I guess I just kept hiding from the alien, and the alien would, chase it off. Maybe it just kind of was repetitive for me.
Oh, once you get past that, and then you get to the androids.
Oh, I don't know if I got that far. I remember having a flamethrower, and it scared the alien away. Yeah, there was androids. You had to like maneuver so they couldn't see you and things.
Yeah, and then it gets worse. I really enjoyed it. So Jim, I can't play that because on my own for too long because of my hands, and they get too fatigued, and then I can't do much with my hands for a few days. So how I get around being unable to use a controller that well because of my joints, I direct Jim, my partner. He's the controller, and he's like, right, where do you want to go? I want to go over there, watch out for that. Oh, that's coming out, that's going to kill you. No, not that way. I didn't want to do that. Oh, you've ruined it. Now you have to restart, go reload that last play. You missed the secret. And you can imagine he then starts to ignore me. Can we just play the game? We don't have to get every secret. I'm a completionist, and he's not so bothered. So it can be frustrating to play with me.
I know I have a ton of recommendations for VR games. Like I really got into that over the pandemic. And then I had to take a break for a while, like just get too busy with work. We had like so many things just coming up. I'm working on a workshop for Manning. They call them live projects. So it's like no time for VR, and then like I'm starting to get time again, but now you just showed me a game that's not VR, so I'm gonna have to check that out first.
I definitely would play Prey, and then if you haven't already for VR, LA Noir has been converted to VR. I haven't played it, but I played LA Noire when it came out, and that was a fantastic game. It's from Rockstar, and it's set in 1930s gangster-ridden LA. So it's Grand Theft Auto, but you are a police detective. So you have to solve crimes and hunt down gangsters, and it's truly fantastic, and it's on VR.
One of my favorites is Trover Saves the Universe.
Oh, I don't know.
This is by the creators of Rick and Morty.
Oh, God. Okay.
And you would think like a game that comes out of that camp is going to be like a quick, just make some money on the brand type of thing. But it's actually a really detailed platformer. So if you think of like Super Mario 64, it's like on that level, but it's in VR, which is weird because you go into VR and then you end up being a character that's in a chair and you're sitting, and then that character has a controller that you're controlling another being in the same universe with. So it's like this very like weird meta thing, and it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. But it's got a lot of depth to it, and like you said, the completionist thing. There are a lot of little bonus things that you can find, and
what
it
is
tracks
this called?
like Trover Saves the Universe. By the way, this is very not work friendly, so be careful who you share that with. And it is by the makers of Rick and Morty, so
That should be warning enough.
yeah, the trailer alone will drop like 500,000 F-bombs, so be careful.
Oh, okay.
Bringing it up on like online. Like I would not bring this trailer up on my show, but I will just give it a shout out for those who are fans of the show that is in a fantastic game that is in kind of the same universe as Rick and Morty would be, but you'll recognize a lot of familiar voices and things in a lot of the characters. Even especially if you've watched Solar Opposites, there's a lot of voice characters from that as well. So it is an absolutely fun and entertaining and hilarious game, especially if you like dark humor and puns and just goofiness. It's a lot of fun.
So the problem with VR is that Jim and I play games together for entertainment, and it's like I can't watch the VR stuff. It just doesn't work. It's like, here's the game this big and he's whipping his head around, and it's not the same. Or if he's watching me, so it's not quite the same. It's quite entertaining to watch someone playing VR when they're sort of crawling around on the floor. I got my mom to play the opening scenes of Half-Life Alyx, where you're in that rooftop conservatory looking around. And I got some great footage of her sort of just like, oh wow, she's my mother is a bit claustrophobic and isn't very good in lifts, and right at the beginning of that, you get into the lift and you go down. She was really like quite scared in the lift. I had to sort of put my hand on her and just say, it's not real, you're fine, you're in the office here, because she was so immersed that her fear rode up from being in the lift. So it's fascinating to see how people react, especially in the older generation.
I have some interesting VR stories. I won't share them here, but
are these ones you've shared with me?
yeah. You know where I'm going with that, and I won't go there right now. One of them, though, I was playing Half-Life Alyx, and we're in the hotel. Or I'm in the hotel, and there's like the head crabs everywhere. It's dark. Yep. You're expecting zombies out of every corner, and I walk up to this door, and I hear the door like latch like jiggle, and I'm like, all right, there's a zombie on the other side of the door. So something you can do in the game is you can reach your hand up and put it on the door handle, turn the latch, you've got your pistol in your right hand or your dominant hand, and you can swing the door open and go in, gun drawn. So I'm getting ready to do that, and I hear the door handle jiggle again, and it kind of clicks in my mind, like, the entire game so far, like, zombies haven't really interacted with door handles. Like, something's amiss. Like, these two things don't add up, and like, this is getting a little too realistic for me. So I grab the headset and I just kind of peek like this, and I'm standing at my back door, and my daughter's on the other side trying to get in, and she's rattling the door handle, and I'm standing in front of her with a VR headset on, like, and she could see me through the glass, and I can't see her, and she's just like, "Really, Dad?" Like,
Really? This is my dad. Oh my goodness. Help me, please. I don't know this man.
she's like, "I was trying to get in. You're just standing there." I'm like, "Yeah, I thought you were in the game with me. Sorry, I thought you were a zombie." I was about ready to
I was
shoot
about to like blow your virtual head off.
Yeah. So, weird things happen in VR. That's all I can say. Weird things happen.
Yeah.
Things cross
They
your
do.
mind that you never thought you'd have cross your mind. So
Enough said, Ed. Enough said.
yeah, it's an oddity.
People are gonna be like, you're gonna have to tell this story, and you don't
Nope,
want to.
not gonna do it. Just let you figure it out yourself. But yeah, I think with that said, we should probably wrap things up. It's been absolutely fantastic talking to you. Do this
It's been
all the
an
time.
absolute joy talking to you, Ed. We haven't caught up recently, so this has been a pleasure.
For sure. And where can we find more out about yourself and the projects you're working on before we go?
Layla.dev. You can come find stuff about there. I need to update my appearances on there. But Layla.dev has all the links to wherever you can find me on the interweb. So that's a really good place to start. Or LaylaCodesIt on most places other than GitHub. So yeah, pretty easy to find. There's not that many Laylas in tech. So, and if there are, this is the only one that matters. This one here.
Excellent. So thank you again for joining me. And it's always fantastic talking to you. And I can't wait to see you at DevReach. I wish you well. And everybody that came to watch the show live, thank you very much. I will post this up on the podcast stream on I can't remember the name of the service. Oh, SoundCloud. That's right. It's been a while. Jeez, I just looked at it yesterday. SoundCloud. So one of the reasons I decided to start doing these again, other than the fact that they're fun, I get to talk to people like you, is the fact that I looked at my SoundCloud, and not having put a podcast on there in I think like 2 years, I was expecting tumbleweeds and crickets, and instead I was still getting like 100 views a day. And
oh my
that's
goodness,
just absolutely impressive for something that has had no attention from me in quite some time. And I feel like I need to start doing this again. So we'll keep this up. So thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.